Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Ida and I am here to tell you how I left the Amish at 18 years old. Yes, that's right. I left my family, my siblings, and everything that I knew behind to pursue a life that I knew nothing about. I know it sounds crazy. Sounds crazy, right? Like, why would you want to do that? But you know, the Amish life isn't everything that it's made out to be. For me, the reason I left, I knew that I wasn't happy living that life and I didn't feel like I fit in. I was very discontent, unsatisfied with the quality of my life as an individual, and just overall very unhappy with it. And that's why I left. I was the first in my family to leave, so I had nobody to help me. I had nobody to tell me what I need to do, or where I could even go to leave, because I had nowhere to go. I ended up asking one of my friends because he had left before. He told me to go talk to this ex-Amish girl that lived in our neighborhood, and I didn't even know she lived there until then. The next week I was helping out the neighbors, and then at night, instead of going straight home, I went over to her house to talk to her about leaving and to see if she would help me out. She agreed to help me out and told me that I would need my birth certificates, my report cards, the diploma if I had one, and any money that I have. My parents had my birth certificate because when you're Amish, they don't give you your birth certificate until you're 21 years old, because they think that you're less likely to leave if you don't have it. I don't think they know that you can just go to the courthouse and have another one printed out. And they also don't get your social security number for you until you're 21 years old. So until you're 21 years old, you basically don't exist. That Saturday night, I packed my report cards from my Amish school and any money that I had, which I only had $10. I only had $10, and that was supposed to be enough. And I had to figure out a way to make that work. I snuck out that night while my parents and my siblings were sleeping. I did leave a note to tell them that I had chosen to leave because I did not want to live the Amish life, and that I would be safe and I would be in the area, but I did not tell them exactly where I was gonna be because I knew that they would try to find me and try to force me to come back. And at that time, and that's also why I left at night while they were sleeping, because I knew that it wouldn't take much to convince me to stay, because if you think about it, that's where my family was, that's where my siblings were, that's where everything that I knew was. It wouldn't have taken much to convince me not to go out in the world on my own, where I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't have anybody to support me. I had nothing. It was only $10, and that was supposed to get me through anything. That was supposed to be enough to start my life. It wouldn't have taken much to convince me not to pursue that, regardless of how unhappy my life would have ended up being. I walked back to the intersection that night, and she picked me up and took me to her house. I only had my Amish clothes, so she gave me some of her clothes to wear until I was able to get clothes on my own. And then over the next 2 weeks, she helped me get my birth certificate, my social security number. So since she was only able to help me temporarily, she also found 2 people that would have been able to help me permanently. One lived in Rochester, Minnesota, and the other one lived in Manette, North Dakota. I ended up choosing the North Dakota one because the one in Minnesota, I had no idea who she was, and the one in North Dakota, I only vaguely knew who she might be. And then she gave me a place to stay, and she helped me find a job and start my life. A week after I left, I heard that my parents were out looking for me. They did stop by this ex-Amish guy's place that was in the area as well to see if I'm there, and then they asked him where I was. And he told them where I was, which I wasn't too happy about because I still wasn't too sure about facing them. They ended up not stopping by until a week later. And that was like a couple days before I was going to North Dakota. They did try to convince me to go back, and they wanted to know what it is that they did to make me leave, what it is that they could have done differently. At this point, they were also afraid that some of my other siblings would leave too. Oh, and they also did offer to pay for a mental health doctor for me if I came back, since they believed that if I went to a mental health doctor, he would be able to fix me so that I would be happy living an Amish life in their minds, I was mentally sick for not wanting to live their lifestyle, because they didn't understand how else I couldn't be happy living that life. But I also think that the reason they weren't able to convince me then to go back was because by that time I had a plan in place on how my life is going to be started. Personally, I believe that I could do it by that point.
And last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to hear more of my story.